who is the under the radar difference maker going to be in this game against Buffalo?
I don't know if it necessarily is under the radar, but I wrote about for my players to watch, which will come out later, and it's Jerry Hughes, he wasn't good at the start of the season, but he's the Bills' best pass rusher in my opinion, and maybe not underrated to Bills fans, but to the NFL, Jerry Hughes has been one of my favorite players in the NFL the last 10 years. He's been really good for Buffalo. When he's going, their defense usually goes, and in his last 5 games, 4.5 sacks, 3 TFLs, 8 QB hits, an interception, and 2 fumble recoveries. That's pretty good for a defensive end. And he moves around both sides. And you can bet he's going to be lining up over Mike McGlinchey a few times. He lined up over the right tackle last week against the Chargers. I think that's going to happen a lot this week. So we'll see how McGlinchey fares.
Doesn't it feel like Jerry Hughes has been with the Bills wrecking havoc since like 2001?
Yeah. Since Fred, yeah. Man, who are some of the players on the Bills in like 2007? CJ Spiller, Ryan Fitzpatrick,
JP Lossman,
yeah, Stevie Johnson. Okay, here.
Yeah. So under the radar guy for the Bills, I'm gonna say probably Tremaine Edmonds. I do fully expect the 49ers to do some of the same things they did last week. And if so, Edmonds is a guy that can go sideline to sideline. I think he came out running a 4.4 or a 4.5. He is a very fast linebacker. He can have some coverage skills underneath. His eyes can fool him sometimes, but he reminds me a bit of Quan Alexander. And if guys like Quan Alexander is on his game, they could definitely wreak havoc.
I'm going to say I got 2 answers. I can't help myself. Whoever's playing for the 49ers in the slot, I think Cole Beasley in the slot can be a problem. So whether that's Ward coming down playing man-to-man or whether that's Mosley probably more likely in the slot, I think that's going to be an important matchup. But I also throw out, I mean, you could ask me this question every week. I'm going to have the same answer. Jordan Reed. That guy has the ability to take over a game. You saw it the game that he got hurt. He had 2 touchdowns. You know, if you've got 2 wide receivers on the outside who are going to take a lot of attention, that should be time to eat for Jordan Reed in the middle. And quick trivia question for you, by the way. Jordan Reed went to New London High School in Connecticut. That is the oldest high school football rivalry in the country. It goes back to the 1800s. They've been playing on Thanksgiving Day against another high school in the area.
Say that again. What's the number?
They've been going back to the 1800s. I believe it's 1875. Yeah. New London High School and Norwich Free Academy have been playing a high school football game on Thanksgiving Day ever since then, from where Jordan Reed's from.
That's cool. Jordan Reed's a good answer. The way I look at this game is, as I mentioned earlier, the Bills are going to sell out to stop the run. They're going to put Trey White, their best corner, one of the best corners in the league, on Deebo Samuel, and they're going to try to get the Niners to win any other way. So obviously Brandon Ayuk is going to have to step up. That's not really under the radar. But another guy that I think the Niners could go to who could get him some big plays is Richie James Jr. Don't forget about Richie James Jr. You got Kendrick Bourne, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. But here's a stat for you. When Nick Mullins targets Richie James Jr. this season, Mullins' quarterback rating is 128.7. That's on 19 targets. That's pretty good. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, so that's really good.
While the Bills, like mediocre to subpar defense, is selling out to stop the 2 most dangerous parts of the Niners offense, their run game and Deebo Samuel, hit him with Richie James Jr. Because when he does catch the ball, it's 20 yards, 40 yards, touchdown, big plays, good things happen. Kyle, don't forget about Richie James Jr. So what? The checklist is no huddle when prudent, when you can get away with it, and a couple of well-timed big plays to Richie James, either down the field or screens. They both work. So you're welcome.
I like it.
Gave it to
I
you.
like it.
I have a question. Just overall, are you sure? Do you think that Trey White will be on Deebo and not go to Ayuk? Because it's kind of hard for Trey White to shut down Deebo just because all the passes behind the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Tre'Davious White's one of the best corners in the NFL, if not the best. But if you put him on Ayuk, then he's more in his element where he can shut down guys beyond the line of scrimmage. But with Deebo, he's going to get his no matter what. So you could completely eliminate Ayuk, to, like on paper at least, if you put Trey White on him. I mean, they'll probably still put Trey White on Deebo, but
that's a good point. If they can eliminate Ayuk and then take away Deebo Samuel by like doubling him or whatever they need to do to tackle him, then Richie James Jr. becomes even more important.
To answer that, I hope they put Tre'Davious White on Debo because there's a chance that Tre'Davious White could get caught in traffic going across field, and then now you have Debo just going free up the sideline. So I hope that happens. They're an AFC East team, so they could do anything they want. They don't really know the 49ers, at least this version of them especially.